Hello, students who are taking math for business and finance and math applications. What we're working on here today is the Chapter 7 summary practice test. So let me get to my pen and the next slide. Okay, here we go. All right, so summary practice test, question number 1 and number 2. This is just to complete the following. And what we have here is we have, the item, the list price, single trade discount, and the net price. So let's do number 1. All right, we know that the Apple iPod is $350, and we know that the single trade discount is 5%, but it's asking us for what the net price is. Well, if the discount is 5%, and if I multiplied the $350 by 5%, that would give me the discount amount. What I need is the net price. So I can't multiply by 5%. I have to multiply by the inverse of the 5% or the complement to it, which would be 95%. Okay. And remember, the thinking behind that is let's say this here is the $350, which is equal to 100%. Okay. Well, if I have a discount of 5% here, that means the rest of this here price has to be 95%, because 5 and 95 make 100. So I want to know what the net price is. I don't want to know what this discount amount is. I want to know this amount right here. So I multiply by 95%. And let me get the calculator and do that. Okay, so 350 times decimal 95, and that gives me 332.50. Right, so that's going to be my net price, 332.50. And of course, if I took the 350 and I subtracted the 332.50, the difference between the two of $17.50 would be my discount amount. Okay, but that's not what the question's asking for. It's asking for the net price. Right, so erasing all of this so we could do number 2. Okay, there we go. All right, so now for number 2 in the Palm Pilot, it's asking us for the list price. We know what the net price is. The net price is, $190, and the discount amount is, 10%. So again, if you, well, not again, if you watch the previous videos, as an example, and I'm just giving you this again as a refresher, if I have 100% and I take 20%, right, that gives me 80%. Now, I'm subtracting going this way, but if I had $100 and I take 20%, I'm multiplying by 20%, and I would get $80. Okay. This is $1 and this is dollars. I get $80. But notice that when I'm going from the list price down to the selling price, when I'm going in this direction, I am multiplying, right? Well, if I have the net price, I'm sorry, this was net price. If I have the net price and I want to go back up to the list price in that direction, well, the opposite of multiply is divide. So if I have $190 as my net price, okay, and I want to find my list price, that means I'm going to have to divide. And of course, I'm dividing not by the discount amount, I'm dividing by the reciprocal or the complement to it, which would be 90%. Okay, so if I divide 190 by 90%, I end up with 211.11. Okay, and so that's how we arrive at those two answers. All right, number 3. Okay, so we have a list price here and a chain discount. We want to know what the net price is going to be, and we want to know what the trade discount amount is going to be. So remember, when we do the chain discount, if we have 5% and 4%, well, the complement to that is 95%, and we multiply by the complement of that is 96%, and we end up with, let's see here, 91.2%. So the decimal equivalent of that is 0.912. Now, we take the $8.99, which is the list price, and we multiply by the 0.912, and that gives us 819.89. Okay. So our net price is going to be 819.89. Now, for our trade discount, all we need to do is just take the $8.99 and subtract the $819.89, and we end up with, let's see here, that's 11, that's a 9, 7. So we end up with $79.11 for the trade discount. Conversely, I could have taken the, I could have taken 1, all right, and since we're dealing with percentages, now remember this is to get our net price, well, I could subtract the 0.912, and that would have given me 0.088, and then I could have taken the $8.99, the list price, and multiplied that by the 0.088, and that would have given me the same amount of $79.11, because this is the discounted amount, okay, the discount percent. All right. And this is the net percent. All right. So, two different ways arriving at the same answer. Okay, let's see here, number 4. All right, so this is looking at the date of invoices and the terms, and it wants us to figure out the end of the discount period and the end of the credit period, okay? So letter A here is the ordinary dating method. And remember, if you need to, draw yourself a timeline. You can label this here at the beginning of the period, which would be 11/4. And it's a 2% in 10 days, so I can make this 10 days. And this would be 2% during those 10 days. And of course, I have the net in 30 days. So that's what it looks like on a timeline. Get used to doing this, in the terms here, because later on in the textbook, when we start talking about the time value of money, I use the timelines extensively, because if there's changes in percentages, changes in number of periods, any kind of change, I'm going to always be creating a new timeline in order to be able to understand what's happening at any moment in time. So, do start doing this if you're not comfortable with it, or if you're like me, who's done it enough, this becomes, I just see this in my mind's eye. Okay, so for letter A, the end of the discount period is 10 days. So if I have 11/4 and I add 10 days, that means my end of discount period is going to be November 14th, right? 11/14. And the end of the credit period, which is 30 days later, right? Now, here you're going to have to be careful, because you need to know how many days are in November. Okay, if I have 11/4 and I add 30 days, that would take me to December 4th, okay, which in this case here is correct for the end of the credit period, right, 12/4. But remember, this is only applicable if it's 30 days. If for some reason, and I know November doesn't have 31 days in it, but if November did have 31 days, okay, so that's like one extra day in the month of November, that means I wouldn't have 12/4, it would end up being 12/3, That's if there was 31 days in November. So remember to pay attention to how many days are in the month. You can't just go and say, oh, well, November 4th plus, 30 is 12/4, is December 4th. What if this happened to be instead of 11/4, let's call this May 4th, okay? And you add 30 days, right? It's not going to be June 4th because why? May has 31 days in it, so that's going to make the end of the credit period June 3rd, 30 days. So always pay attention to how many days are at the end of a month, okay? All right, let's see here, erase all of that there. And okay, so for B here, all right, we're talking about 10/3, okay, and we were that was the invoice date, and then on I'm sorry, not 10/3, yeah, October 3rd. That's October 3rd, but we didn't receive the goods until March 10th, okay, and it's 3% 10, net 30 receipt of goods. Well, the only difference between the ordinary method and receipt of goods is that we're looking, we don't do the ordinary method until we actually receive the goods. So we're not concerned with the October 3rd, we're concerned with the March 10th. So for March 10th, we add 10 days, and that will give us 3/20 would be the end of the discount period. Okay, and 30 days later, all right, so 3/10 plus 30 is going to be 4, but we have to look at March, and March has 31 days in it, all right? So it's not going to be April 10th, it's going to be April 9th, right? Because there's 31 days in March. We don't just automatically go and say April 10th. We have to account for that one more day right there. So that makes it April 9th. Okay. Let's go and look at May 2nd. Okay, now this is the end of month, right? And whenever we're looking at end of month, remember we're talking about whether the invoice is dated the 25th or sooner. So in this case here, the invoice is dated May 2nd. So that's on the 25th or sooner. So we go to the next month, which is June, and we have to pay it on the 10th day of the month. Okay, so that makes this June 10th. And the end of the credit period is the end of June or end of that month, which would be 30 days. Let's see here, yeah, June 30th. So that makes the end of the credit period June 30th. Now, this last one here is also end of month, and we're still working with the date of the 25th. Since November 28th is after the 25th, okay, we don't go to December 10th, right, the next month on the 10th day. We're actually given a whole extra month, so we don't have to worry about paying the invoice until January 10th. Okay, so that's when the end of the discount period is, January 10th. And of course, the end of the credit period would be the end of that month of January, so that would be January 30th. So that means the credit period ends on January 30th. Okay. All right. So if you have any questions on that or any of these concepts, feel free to telephone and speak with an instructor or contact us via email. Okay. And I will pick up with problem number 5 in the next video.